Hey gamers, Munklick here. This is a 10-hour review for Infection Free Zone. This game is on Steam. It is currently in early access. It is important to note that it is in early access because they might fix some of the things I'm going to go over sometime in the future. I hope they do. So this is a colony sim game, similar to playing games like Oxygen Not Included or Stranded Alien Dawn. Things like that. Those are games I much enjoy, so I was very interested in trying this out. This game, some of its claim to fame, it uses something similar to Google Maps. It has a real-world map view. I chose to play my game in Atlanta. That is near where I live. Atlanta is the capital of Georgia, the state, not the country, if you are from outside the United States. So if I zoom out here, I could see the real-world roads and buildings and things like that. So I started off in Atlanta near a park where I could get some lumber, and we salvaged some buildings. Like you can see some, the silhouette that's like really like faded is almost completely stripped down, and then it will just be gone. But I salvaged some buildings, used their materials, made some walls to keep the zombies out, stuff like that. And basically, you are just managing the people. During the day, you are trying to gather resources. During the night, most of your people go into the buildings, except the ones that you've got, you know, for fighting. And the zombies, the Ooga Boogas, will come attack, and the story will progress. There are zombie-type entities. They don't call them zombies. They're a different thing. And there is also bandit type people, like, you know, marauders that'll try to take your stuff, and other factions that you can try to befriend, or they will come try to take your stuff if you make enemies of them. But if they come take your stuff and you manage to take them out, you can take their equipment, like this lovely APC I have here, my best vehicle at the moment. So, during the day, you run around, you scavenge in buildings. Like, for example, if I go over here, you see these question marks. These I have not scavenged. So I could take a group of people, and I could say, go through these, and they will get all the materials they can out of those and bring them home. And you know, those are your squad members. Now, you've got a pool of people to use, which in the bottom left, it's behind my camera, so I'm going to turn my camera off here. Right here, it says you've got right now I've got 208 people. So I can assign them to do anything. I can have them grab a knife and a gun and head on out. I can also have them be a cook, work in the lab, work on building, work on repairing, things like that. So you can give them any tasks you want. Again, similar to other colony sim games. However, overall, this was a really fun game. But I want to talk about the problems I hit, and hopefully they'll get these fixed in the future. So, you can't micro your units well. So you can play the game on 3 speeds.
Ready for action.
So I will, I can right click and I can move the sky around. Easy peasy, right? However, if anything hits him, if I'm like, hey, attack that crucial enemy that's running, and he's going for it, and then something else like hits him in the side, he will stop chasing and turn to kill the thing that's on him. It's infuriating when a high-value enemy target is running away from you, and you can't get your guy to stick to it and try to finish it off. So that's one issue. Another thing with micro units, there is a thing in the game called expeditions. So basically, when you choose where in the real world you're going to play your game, anything outside of that is an expedition. You can't actually zoom in, hang on a second, and see the game view past that point. But you can send people to these regions, and they're scavenging. And basically, they might get attacked, and they might just be unimpeded and can get a bunch of loot and bring it back. Because eventually, if your game goes long enough, you will search and strip this whole area bare of resources. Now, you could do things like plant trees and then chop the trees, so you can get an infinite supply of lumber. But there's other resources you can't. Like, if there's a way to get an infinite supply of fuel for my vehicles, I didn't figure it out. So it's either not in the game, or it's not an option, or it's something I just didn't see. So you'll send people off map, but you cannot micro them at all. Because again, like over here, I can zoom in on the game view, but over here, I can't zoom in on this. If they get attacked, my only option is just to watch them stay and fight, or hit the come home button, and they all pile in the car and try to come home. If they die out there, that vehicle is full of all that loot. I cannot get it. I can send another vehicle out there, but I can't, like, it's literally not an option to loot the previous destroyed vehicle with all the loot that was in it. Like, you could see it on the map, and it'll be there, and it'll be taunting you, but you can't get it. So, that's frustrating. Obviously, I see that they were trying to make it to where, like, there is an edge to the playable area, so the game didn't go on forever and have, like, an entire worldview. However, not being able to micro these people was infinitely frustrating when it's like, 4 of them with guns lose against like, 6 zombies or something because they did something stupid, and you're like, oh my god, I could have outplayed that so easily, but it doesn't let me control them out there. So that led to some frustration. I could probably get used to it over time, but it's worth mentioning. No priority system for workers. So there is a thing you can build. Like, one, you can tell people, like, hey, I want you to repair this. Like, this tower got destroyed on the last attack. I want you to fix it back up. And 2 workers are assigned from your pool of available people, and they're going to bring over these materials and start fixing it. However, there's another thing here called the repairman shop, and they will just repair anything that's damaged. This was a godsend when I first got it, but it became less useful later on because I started putting down barbed wire. And barbed wire, anytime it hurts an enemy, it loses a bit of durability. So you can see all these icons here, these are all waiting on repair. And the repairman shop, you can say, you can do like a little bit of like, oh, repair this over that. Like I could say repair the towers for the defenses, stuff like that. However, before you get the repairman, you have to do it completely manually. Like, click this wall, hit repair. Click this wall, hit repair. Click this house, hit repair. Click this house, hit repair. Stuff like that. There is a repair all things of this exact type. So if
the building has been repaired.
No, it hasn't. That's a lie. So if I click here, it will queue that. But another weird thing, if I queue them for manual repair, the repairman shop doesn't help anymore, it seems like. So it seems that the repairman shop will only repair things that you haven't put out a manual order to repair. So if you make the mistake of putting out a manual order to repair and you didn't have any available people to work on that, the people in the repairman shop will just pick their noses because there's nothing for them to do. It's like that could be cleaned up a little bit. Oh, can't easily see how many workers are on a task. So let's just glance at my base right here. This building, that's just for people living. This one, 14 people are working in here out of a possible 42. Here, 10 out of a possible 31. Here, 2 out of 2. Here, 1 out of 2. Here, 1 out of 2. Okay, many times, like, this is my food supply. These are greenhouses. Many times during this game, I clicked on these, and this is like, max people. Keep max people in there. And then at some point, one of them died, or maybe they died of old... I don't know if they die of old age in this game, but one of them died, and then someone came in to replace them, and then that person automatically was assigned to a different task, and it won't stay consistent. Like... I want these to always be max, but many times I look at them and they're down to 1 out of 2, and it'll have an exclamation point over a building with 0 people in it, but you might have, like, your lab might go from 30 people down to 1 before it notifies you, and it's like, what the hell's going on? And for example, then there's this thing. I was tearing down this building for resources. You can see it's almost completely gone. I got all the lumber, I got all of the iron, and I didn't really need brick that much, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave one guy there. I'm out of people right now, but you get the idea. I was like, I'm gonna leave one guy there just to trickle, slowly get the rest of that over time, because I don't need brick right now. And later, came back and looked at that building again, and there was like 20 people there, and I'm like, why? Why is it auto-assigning people like this? Like, I don't have a problem with the idea that unassigned people will just work on any task, but assigning themselves, locking themselves into that task is very, very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. Another thing, a tutorial told me at one point, so in this vehicle, I'm gonna tell these guys to leave the vehicle. I've got 4 people here. And you can see their equipment here. We've got like a shotgun and some sports protectors, a pistol, and a shotgun. Now, if they go into a warehouse or a storage building that has better weapons, they will automatically equip those weapons. But a tutorial comes up the first time you do this and says you can drag the weapons onto them in order to tell them what you want them to use.
We're on the move.
I could not figure out how to do that. Like, here's a list of your weapons up here. You can't drag them down that way. In the building here, I can't drag them out of there. And this is the building that makes guns. I can't drag them out of there. So I basically cleared the early access part of the game by just having the people use whatever, was the best thing they could get a hold of. So I couldn't make like one squad with shotguns, one squad with sniper rifles, stuff like that. Someone in chat right now saying go into the building and hit the both arrow. Go into the building. Hang on just a second. Wish you had said this 10 hours ago. Hit the both arrow. Inventory with it. Select another squad, building, or vehicle to exchange inventory with. Ha! That's useful. Well, okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. Wish you had 10, 11 hours ago. However, I will say, that tutorial could be freaking better. Oh, maybe I'm just dumb, but I couldn't figure it out. That tutorial could have been better, as I was trying to drag and drop it in from every other location possible and could not figure out how to do it. Okay, so that's the thing. Another thing that would be nice is you see all these car icons. There's a lot of vehicles here from previous firefights and stuff like that. They're full on gas. I'm completely out of gas. There's no option to siphon fuel. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. Because my strongest vehicle, this APC, I'm almost out of fuel, and I got none left at this moment in time. However, I was able to win, but it's just in that one restart I was running it tight, but I was like, I really wish I could siphon fuel from the other vehicles. So either it exists and I couldn't figure it out, or it doesn't exist and I would like to see it. I think that's everything. But yeah, overall, this was a pretty cool game. It had a decent story, zombie apocalypse, but there was a couple of twists in it. It was pretty cool. Playing like in the real world, being able to like defend your neighborhood and, salvage buildings and like build new structures. Another thing you can do is like, if you've got like a really big building and you're like, oh, I want to assign half of it, you can basically tell your engineers like, hey, look, I want you to split this right in half. And you can have them basically cut a building in half. And I did that here because like changing this whole building to be a barracks was going to take forever. So I essentially marked it in half and I was like, all right, just make this side a barracks. And it's still a long time because it's like a 40-floor building, but it took less time. So there's a lot of cool features of this game. I really like it. And if you like Stranded Alien Dawn, Oxygen Not Included, stuff like that, I think you might like it too. But there's definitely a handful of stuff here that I would love to see them cleaned up. Like I said, you cannot micro people for crap. But there is a few cool things. For example, like literally every building, you can use kind of like a bunker from StarCraft. Like you can have your people... I had so many times like, zombies were getting through this gate here and the nearest building was just like some guy's house. And I was like, excuse me, sir. And just put a bunch of people in there and they were shooting out the windows and taking them out as they got inside, or the kitchen. I was using the kitchen for that too. But pretty much any building that was a structure that you didn't set up, like the greenhouses are, were like very, very shabby little buildings. So you can't use those. But anything that was a structure that you just adapted to become something else, and it wasn't something you built on your own, you can use as a barracks, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a nice game, and once again, that is Infection Free Zone, and that's my thoughts after 13.3 hours in clearing early access.